don't really know what I'm going to talk about. Just figured I'm here doing some stuff. Might as well do something that's a little less productive. But yeah, so but anyways, so I guess, I mean, I really haven't been paying attention all that great to like my subscriber count. And apparently I reached like 65, 66, something like that in the how many ever months I've been doing this. I think 5 months. So I'd say that's pretty good. And I would have done it a lot sooner back in like 2020, but yeah, whatever. But so yeah. But anyways, hopefully what was I gonna say? But anyway, oh yes, now I know what I was gonna say. So I happened to bump into one of my high school friends. I actually can't call him a friend. He's more of an acquaintance because I knew who he was, knew him and whatnot. But you know, he was another farm kid. And funny thing is I hear all these things about people saying, oh, well, in my area, you know, all the farm kids hang out and talk about farming. Well, in my area, I was the only kid that was a farm kid that really wanted to talk farming other than else. All my other buddies, all they want to do is talk trucks and whatnot, and I ain't really a fan of trucks, pickup trucks and whatnot. Oh yeah. But anyway, so I bumped into him. He's a good kid. He's one of those kids that, you know, got everything handed to him. And, you know, mommy and daddy paid for it, but, you know, and if he wanted something, he got it from his mother or father. And then he would sit right there and tell us, oh, no, I paid for it. But anyways, I bumped into him the other day. Now, his family are farmers, and he kind of runs the farm now. But he bumped into me, and of course, he asked me how my whole farming thing was going. I says, not so great. And he, of course, chuckled, and he says, well, you could have took over your grandparents' farm. And I says, well, I would have if that was one of my options, but anyways, but he really kind of ticked me off a little bit because, I mean, then again, it don't take much to piss me off. I have a very short fuse. But like I always said to one of my good friends in school, it's that Irish temper. You know, short fuse, so it don't take you much to get you pissed off and riled up and ready to throw fists, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so basically, it's kind of, because most of the farm kids in the area, they obviously, you know, family farm, so they'll be able to take over the family farm. Well, I wish I could have had that option, but when I had the chance to take over the farm, I was too young. I was 16 years old, and walking up to my grandparents when they was getting ready to sell the place to my asshole of a cousin, which we'll get to him in a second. Basically, I would have said something to him, but there was no point. I could have said, hey, maybe one of your grandkids actually want to farm, not the asshole cousin that got married into the family should buy it. Maybe one of the kids or grandkids should have a chance to buy it before that asshole. But I obviously didn't do that because at the time I would have been 15, 16 years old. So I didn't really have that kind of say. But also on the other end of that, I couldn't have walked into any bank or anywhere and got like an FSA loan or got a regular bank loan to buy that place, because they're going to look at a 16-year-old kid and go, yeah, I don't think so, Tim. But, anyway, so yeah. Because my original plan all through high school, since I got in my head that I was going to go farming, was, about junior, senior year of high school, I was going to, start, doing some stuff to the farm over there to get it, correct to milk cows in again, which the barn was never set up right from the beginning. I think, honestly, the way my grandfather set it up, when he set it up all the way back in the day, it was in a hurry just to milk cows, because the barn placement is no good. The where the parlor used to be, where the milk room used to be, and where the silos were, was just not good. And so the barn was kind of effed up. And like the other thing was it was, the one nice thing about the barn is you could drive the hay wagons down through and just throw the hay off, so you didn't have to deal with a hay elevator or have to deal with people up in the mow or loft, or what are you going to call it, the mow, the loft, the upstairs part of the barn. Anyways, which was nice, except my grandfather had 4 hay wagons. Now, all stack on wagons. Well, you could only go 5 high on one wagon, only 4 high on another, and I think 5 high on the other 2. I might be wrong. I can't remember those 2 wagons, because those have been long since sold, because we only got 2 wagons now that my cousin absolutely destroyed, putting silage bales on those old fucking rickety wagons. Broke a hub off of one of them. But anyways, so yeah, so I would have had to have spent a little bit of money, but at least I would have been smart and probably raised a little bit of beef cattle before then, and I would have had to have gotten a whole new lineup of equipment, because the old shit spreader he had, you put a load on it, the damn thing would break almost instantly, and the equipment wasn't really the greatest either. But yeah, so I really, of course, so that was my whole plan, about junior, senior year of high school, I was going to buy the farm, or not buy the farm, but rent it or get permission to use, do whatever anyways, to, from my grandparents, and then eventually buy it, and so forth and so forth. But I didn't have that option, because my little dickhead of a cousin, well, I can't call him little, and I can't call him, he's not truly my cousin, considering he was married in, and he's one of those guys that, doesn't know a lick about farming, but think they know everything, and that's what kind of pissed me off, is because they was going to milk, so originally they was going to buy that farm and, milk probably 30 cows, but, of course, that's kind of where my plan changed. It says, well, I can't do anything, I can't say anything to my grandparents, and, of course, I really don't want to, tick off my cousin, my actual cousin, not the asshole. I didn't really want to piss her off. Well, I probably wouldn't have pissed her off, considering me and her are pretty much, I don't know, we've had this kind of brother-sister, like, I don't know what you'd call it, since we were little, always made the joke that we was going to be farm partners, because me and her were probably the 2 biggest people in the entire family, other than maybe my cousin. My other cousin, he probably wouldn't have wanted to farm, but I know me and her were definitely right into it. But anyways, so he, while my cousin got married in, or showed up, well, in the family we kind of have this thing. The older people are the ones that got, the most, the older kid, or the older person, like my grandfather or my uncles or my cousin, depending on who it was, would run the baling tractor, and then the other ones would be on the wagon. That's kind of how it worked. Well, so right around my time, my cousin was kind of phasing out, so my brother was stepping up in that plate, and so he was, running the D17, mowing, doing most of the work, running the tractor. Well, then in steps my cousin, the asshole. I'm going to refer to him as an asshole, because that's what he is. Jackass, asshole, whatever you want to call him. And if he ever sees this video, that's all I can say to him. Even though I still help him out, because, $10, $10 an hour is $10 an hour. But he would always, he thought that, oh, well, I can step right up and start running equipment. Well, my brother shut that theory down real quick, said that, and my grandfather shut him right down in his place too, about, you can't just show up and start running equipment. You got to bust your ass on that hay wagon first and prove to other people, especially the owner of the tractor. You kind of want to prove that you're not an asshole, but him and my grandfather never got along. And that's a whole nother story on how they really started hating each other. But anyways, so yeah. So of course they was going to milk cows, and they was going to buy the place in 2016. So I thought, oh, well, I'll just milk cows with them. Well, somebody went and said, oh, you can't make money milking cows, which is also funny, is that I've been told 100 different things that you up here at that time, there was a bunch of farms actually looking, a bunch of milk haulers, milk plants, whatever, were looking for small 30 cow organic dairies, and that's what they was gonna do. So they could have done it, but nope, someone had to beat that out of their head. So now they raise beef cattle and have a farm store and just a bunch of asshole stuff. And he thinks he's got the world by the ass and thinks he knows everything. But, so that's kind of the reason why, instead of being able to just jump in and take over the family farm, you know, or building my own farm at the family farm, kind of can't happen. And that's kind of why, you know, my whole, oh, this is what I'm gonna do out of high school, or this out of I'm gonna do this or that out of high school has kind of been all over the place, because the whole thing I was gonna do since I was 5 got shit canned 3 years before I was gonna graduate high school. So it really fucking pissed me off. And I mean, I'm not saying he's a complete asshole, but the world could do without him some days. Because he's absolutely, like the hay barn that we had, that was in immaculate condition. My brother, my cousin, and my grandfather kept that thing up and up. He gets a hold of it, and I mean, that thing don't cut worth a shit. It don't run worth a shit. It's beat to shit. And then same with the baler. It's a Massey Ferguson baler, and that baler's probably got 1 million plus bales through it. But when you're standing on the wagon, the nodder's on this side, that one keeps fucking up. Well, his problem is that he doesn't really, you know, before haying season, a normal person would probably bring the baler, you know, bale up a few loose bales, make sure the baler's all set to run before you bring it in the field and try to, you know, bale 100 plus bales. No, that ain't. He'll pull it out the day before, string the new twine, and just head to the field with it. And it'll miss 100 bales. It will miss almost every bale. You might get 1 or 2 good ones. And that baler's just, and it doesn't help that he, you know, everyone always says that those balers, you know, those older balers, you know, you need a little less RPM, just enough RPM to carry everything through, which is true. But he, on that big 80 plus horse Kubota, he had the throttle right about there running. So, you know, that baler's doing about a Mach 1, and that baler makes all types of noises that it shouldn't make. And it just, if he doesn't, you know, grenade that baler, which, I mean, surprised he hasn't yet. But yeah, and of course, and so I still kind of associate with him, but I've pretty well I stepped back a little bit, and like, because before I was only stuck on the hay wagon. Well, I proved myself raking hay, that I ain't no dumbass to him, and every time I help him, now I just get to run equipment. Sometimes I stack on the wagon if I help him, but the other thing that drives me absolutely insane, when you're baling on when you're square baling and you're baling on a wagon, a normal person wide swings when they're, you know, pulling out of the windrow and going to the next. They usually wide swing, or if they got to jump to the next one, they usually pull out and then loop it back around, you know, not to cause stress in any of the, you know, not to crank the wagon's hitch tongue right around just as sharp, you know, just as shorter, you know, or the PTO linkage. No, he just, you know, if the probably no wider than, you know, 8 or 9 feet, you know, the windrows are together, he'll just, you know, crank it right around. So everything, if he doesn't destroy that baler, I will be amazed. But he's been farming there, well, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 2021 will be his 6th year there, and that baler gets a little worse every year. But instead of, you know, a normal person keeps having problems, and we kept having, it's not like this just started last year or 2 years ago. It's been doing it since 2015, 2014, maybe earlier than that. And they did fix it, but now it's screwing up again. So I have a feeling they didn't go back through and adjust it, or, you know, make sure everything was back in time, because I mean, over time stuff will loosen up, and things can change. But no, you can't tell that to him. He knows what he's talking about. And I mean, yeah. And there was another, but that's kind of one of the biggest reasons. And I really would have liked to take over my other grandparents' farm, run that, except that was sold out in the mid 80s, maybe mid to early 80s, I think it was. I can't remember what my dad said, 84, I think it was, 85 or 86, because it got, first, the family friend, his name was Norm, he was going to take it over, but I guess he was going to run it for my grandfather, but never did. Then the next people, their last names was the Roncos. The husband was really into it, but the wife really wasn't. And like my grandmother used to say, if you're gonna dairy farm, both, the husband and the wife got to be into it. And then the Seavies, which are still the owners of it now, but it's nothing but a concrete pad and a couple, and in the old windmill in the picture. They were an asinine kind of people. They didn't know their head from their ass. Or they did, but I mean, they ran that place into the ground. And they weren't really prepared at all, because they had to use my grandfather's tractors a couple times, because I don't think the farm was quite sold to them yet. I don't think they owned it at the time. I think they was kind of, so they would use my grandfather's equipment here and there. But anyways, yeah. And my dad always, says, if I probably took that farm over, you and my brother probably, me and my brother probably would have never happened. It's like, well, there's always that, small window that you would have met mother. But still, to this day, I don't know. So that's kind of why I'm doing my own thing and kind of being retarded about everything. And really, yeah. And but yeah, so that's that. But yeah, so stick around, find out what's gonna happen. We'll see where I am in the fall. Hopefully I'm a little further along than I have been in my life. But anyways, catch y'all on the next one.